Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Gaurav Sharma and with me is Aditi Zumba bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs video meeting of governors, state chief ministers and lieutenant governors on country's G20 presidency. India reducing dependency on Chinese goods by taking a series of measures, says country's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. New Delhi asks Islamabad to take immediate measures to bring persecutors of minority groups in Pakistan to justice. India Meteorological Department warns of cyclonic storm Mandos over Bay of Bengal from Friday midnight to early hours of Saturday. President Draupadi Murmu stresses on immediate implementation of measures taken by the Government of India to deal with climate change. Japan, UK and Italy to jointly develop next-generation fighter jet. In women's T20 cricket, Australia defeat India by 9 wickets in the first T20 International in Mumbai. And in the FIFA World Cup, Brazil facing Croatia in first quarter-final in Qatar, Argentina to take on Netherlands later on Friday in the second quarter-final. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday chaired a video meeting of the governors, chief ministers of states and lieutenant governors of union territories to discuss aspects relating to India's G20 presidency. In his remarks, Mr. Modi stated that India's G20 presidency belongs to the entire nation and is a unique opportunity to showcase the country's strengths. He emphasized the importance of teamwork and sought the cooperation of the states and the union territories in the organization of various G20 events. He pointed out that the G20 presidency will help showcase parts of India beyond the conventional big metros and bring out the uniqueness of each part of the country, highlighting the large number of visitors who will be coming to India during India's G20 presidency and the international media focus on various events. The Prime Minister underlined the importance of states and union territories utilizing this opportunity to rebrand themselves as attractive businesses, investments and tourism destinations. He also reiterated the need to ensure people's participation in the G20 events by a whole of government and a whole of society approach. A number of governors, chief ministers and lieutenant governors shared their thoughts during the meeting, emphasizing the preparations being done by the states to suitably host G20 meetings. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also addressed the meeting and a presentation was made by India's G20 Sherpa. India took over the presidency of the G20 on the 1st of this month and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country next year.
As India takes over the G20 presidency, the event gives a historic opportunity to the country to address the growing challenges of food security faced by the world and promote cultivation as a solution to the climate crisis. It also coincides with the UN General Assembly's declaration to make 2023 the International Year of Millet at India's request, which was endorsed by over 70 countries. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on International Year of Millet 2023.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the opening ceremony of the International Year of Millets at the headquarters of the Food and Agricultural Organization in Rome, Italy, congratulated the United Nations and the Food and Agriculture Organization for the launch of the International Year of Millets 2023 and expressed his appreciation to member nations for their support in marking the International Year of Millets. Union Minister of State for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Ms. Shobha Karandalaje, represented India at the opening ceremony in Rome. It is the Prime Minister's vision and initiative that led to the United Nations General Assembly declaring the year 2023 International Year of Millets with support from more than 70 nations across the globe. It will help in creating awareness throughout the world about the significant role of millets in sustainable agriculture and its benefits as a smart and superfood, informing that millets are among the earliest crops grown by humans and have been an important source of nutrients. The Prime Minister emphasized making it a food choice for the future. Highlighting the challenges of food security, the Prime Minister mentioned the once-in-a-century pandemic and the arising conflicts around the world. He also touched upon how climate change is affecting food availability. Marking that a global movement related to millets is an important step in the direction of food security, the Prime Minister informed that millets are easy to grow, climate resilient and drought resistant. He further added that millets are a rich source of balanced nutrition, compatible with natural ways of farming and need less water. The Prime Minister remarked millets are good for the consumer, cultivator and climate. Millets such as finger millet, ragi, foxtail millet, kakun and kangni, sorghum, jowar, pearl millet, bajra, buckwheat millet, kutu and amarnath millet, chola are part of a healthy Indian diet since ages. Stressing the need for diversity on the land and at the dining table, the Prime Minister informed that health is impacted if agriculture becomes monoculture and pointed out that millets are a good way to increase agricultural and dietary diversity. While concluding his message, the Prime Minister touched upon raising awareness to create millet mindfulness and highlighted the tremendous role that institutions and individuals can play. He added that while institutional mechanisms can encourage the production of millets and make it profitable via policy initiatives, individuals can make health-conscious and planet-friendly choices by making millets as part of the diet. Mr. Modi said that millets have a glorious history of being among the earliest crops grown by humans. They have been an important food source in the past, but the need of the hour is to make them a food choice for the future. A once-in-a-century pandemic followed by a conflict situation has shown that food security is still a concern for the planet. Climate change can also impact food availability. At such a time, a global movement related to millets is an important step since they're easy to grow, climate resilient and drought resistant. They are a rich source of balanced nutrition for consumers. They benefit cultivators and our environment since they need lesser water and are compatible with natural ways of farming. There's a need for diversity on the land and on our tables. If agriculture becomes monoculture, it affects our health and the health of our lands. Millets are a good way to increase agricultural and dietary diversity. Raising awareness to create millet mindfulness is an important part of this movement. Both institutions and individuals can make a tremendous impact. Prime Minister said that he was positive that the International Year of Millets 2023 will start a mass movement towards a secure, sustainable and healthy future. India is poised to become the global hub for millets with a production of more than 170 lakh tons, which makes for more than 80% of the millets produced in Asia. The earliest evidence for these grains has been found in the Indus civilization and was one of the first plants to be domesticated for food. It is grown in about 131 countries and is a traditional food for around 600 million people in Asia and Africa. India has declared to celebrate IYOM 2023 to make it a people's movement so that the Indian millets, recipes and value-added products are accepted globally. The International Year of Millets stands to provide a unique opportunity to increase global production, ensure efficient processing and consumption, promote better utilization of crop rotations and encourage better connectivity throughout food systems to promote millets as a key component of the food basket.
The Government of India on Friday said that it has taken a series of measures to reduce dependency on Chinese goods and increase the manufacturing capacity of domestic industries and its competitiveness. Replying to supplementaries on India-China trade relationship in the Upper House, Indian Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that the government has laid focus on the Make in India initiative and has taken efforts by providing production-linked incentives to the domestic industries to increase their manufacturing capacities.
It's important that the country recognizes and realizes how we have become dependent on a country which has inimical interests and how this government has, through a number of initiatives today, focused its attention on promoting Make in India. Sir, we have introduced production-linked incentive scheme where between semiconductors, where we are giving 76,000 crores and 24 other sectors where we will be giving as Government of India 1.97 lakh crores as support to Indian industry. For the first time, such large measure of support at the central government level to promote domestic manufacturing.
India has asked Pakistan to take immediate measures to expeditiously bring the perpetrators of persecutors or minority groups in that country to justice. There have been reports of instances of vandalism and desecration of places of religious worship belonging to the minority communities in Pakistan. These include vandalism of Gurdwara Nankana Sahib and Gurdwara Sri Guru in Sindh, statue of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Lahore, Shiv Temple in Mirpur, Mathelo and Sri Mata Temple in Karachi, and theft of gold idol in Sant Baba Jairam Das Samadhi Ashram in Sindh. In a written reply in the lower house of Indian Parliament on Friday, India's Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan said New Delhi has raised all such cases with Pakistan and called upon it to take steps to protect and promote the safety, security and well-being of its minority communities and the places of worship. He also informed that India has secured the release and repatriation of more than 2,700 Indian prisoners from Pakistan custody since 2014. The country has also sought early consular access and release and repatriation of the remaining Indian in Pakistan custody. Mr. Muralidharan said the government attaches high importance to the issue of Indian prisoners held in Pakistan custody and also possible assistance extended to the fishermen for their early release.
India Meteorological Department has issued a warning for cyclonic storm Mandos over the Bay of Bengal from Friday midnight to early hours of Saturday. The cyclone lays centered at 135 kilometers southeast of the Indian town of Mamallapuram and 170 kilometers south-southeast of Chennai. It is moving towards the west and northwest direction at a speed of 14 kilometers per hour. It is expected to make a landfall near Mahabalipuram between Puducherry and Sriharikota. In the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, capital Chennai and surrounding areas have been experiencing intermittent rains since Thursday. Educational institutions have been closed for Saturday as well. Airports, railways and other transport services are put on high alert as the cyclone advances. The State Disaster Response Force and the National Disaster Response Force teams have been stationed in the coastal districts due to high waves reaching up to more than 5 feet. The Indian government has issued advisories to alert the public not to venture out of their houses late evening as there is a threat of strong winds. Talking to AIR News, Director General of IMD, Dr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra said that the cyclonic storm Mandos is very likely to weaken into a deep depression within 3 hours after the landfall.
As the cyclonic system Mandos moves northwestward, the sea areas of the northern and eastern coast of Sri Lanka are reported to get rough with very strong gusty winds and heavy rain. In an advisory, the Sri Lankan Meteorological Department has advised naval and fishing communities against venturing into the sea areas off the coast from Mannar to Pottuval. Those who are out in the aforementioned places have been advised to move to safer areas or return to coast immediately. The advisory states that there is a possibility of swell waves up to 3.5 meters.
India's President Draupadi Murmu on Friday said that there is an urgent need to take effective steps to solve the problem of global warming and climate change. She said that the whole world is struggling with these issues. President Murmu was addressing the closing ceremony of the 97th Foundation course of the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in the Indian hill town of Mussoorie. She appealed to the officers to fully implement the steps taken by the Government of India for environment protection to save our future. Addressing another event, the Indian President said that India is moving towards becoming self-reliant, for which the commitment of students is needed. The President said that only education can bring a change in the entire nation.
शिक्षा ही वो माध्यम है जो पूरे राष्ट्र में बदलाव ला सकता है। शिक्षण संस्थानों में अनुसंधान और नवाचार को बढ़ावा दिया जाना चाहिए ताकि छात्र तकनीकी कौशल से और अधिक संपन्न हो और स्वयं रोजगार की तलाश करने की बजाय दूसरों को रोजगार उपलब्ध कराएंगे।
The President remarked that there is no harm in learning all the languages of the world, but the mother tongue should not be forgotten. She said that the British ruled India for many years, but today the whole world is looking towards the country because it has the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family.
A recent study has revealed that climate change is likely to increase rough wave days in the Indian Ocean, northern sector of Arabian Sea and central Bay of Bengal in the near future. The Science and Technology Ministry said that extreme wave events can have a tremendous impact on the livelihoods of the coastal population, infrastructure and ocean-related activities. It added observed variability and changes in extreme wave events, along with shifting storm intensity and tracks, can play a crucial role in shoreline changes, erosion rates, flooding episodes and other related coastal hazards. The study also found that extreme waves due to climate change and its consequences continue to emerge at both regional and global scales. It suggested that a better understanding of the future projected changes in the amplitude of high-frequency extreme wave events is necessary for timely warning and coastal planning and management. The study was conducted by a team of scientists from National Institute of Technology, Delhi, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services, Hyderabad.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
Britain, Italy and Japan on Friday said they will jointly develop a future fighter jet that uses artificial intelligence. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the joint venture aims to create thousands of jobs and strengthen security ties. Talking to the media on a visit to a Royal Air Force base in eastern England, Mr. Sunak said the partnership will keep the country safe from the new threats that they may face. The three nations held out the prospect of cooperation with European and US allies, which are developing their own sixth-generation planes, vying to maintain interoperability among all the allies against threats from the likes of China. The new Global Combat Air Program is slated to produce its first jets by 2035, merging the three countries' costly existing research into new aerial war technology, from stealth capacity to high-tech sensors. The British Prime Minister said they are one of the few countries in the world that has the capability to build technologically advanced fighter aircraft.
American basketball star Brittany Griner reached the United States on Friday after being released from a Russian prison in exchange for an arms deal. Griner, who was arrested in Russia in February on drug charges, and Victor Bout, who was serving a 25-year sentence in a U.S. prison, were exchanged at an airport in Abu Dhabi. U.S. President Joe Biden announced the release of the basketball star in an address to the nation at the White House. The Russian state media released footage showing Griner and Bout crossing paths on the airport tarmac and heading towards the plane that would take them home. A two-time Olympic gold medalist, Brittany Griner, was arrested at a Moscow airport 9 months ago. She was accused of possession of vape cartridges with a small quantity of cannabis oil and was sentenced in August to 9 years in prison. Victor Bout, who was accused of arming rebels in some of the world's bloodiest conflicts, was detained in an American sting operation in Thailand in 2008, was extradited to the United States, and sentenced in 2012 to 25 years behind bars.
Around 1,100 Indian students and 90 other Indian citizens are still in conflict-hit Ukraine. This was stated by India's Union Minister of State for External Affairs, Meenakshi Lekhi, in a written reply in the lower house of the Indian Parliament on Friday. She said most of the Indian students pursuing medical education in Ukraine have returned to India since the conflict began. She said the Indian mission in Kiev, in its advisory, also provided information about available options to Indian citizens for crossing borders, and it remains in touch with them to provide help. Bangladesh police on Friday arrested two top leaders of the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP a day before its planned grand rally in the capital. Party's General Secretary Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir and Standing Committee member Mirza Abbas were produced before a court in Dhaka in a case filed over Wednesday's clashes between BNP supporters and the police. One person was killed and several others, including some policemen, were injured in the clashes in front of the BNP office in Dhaka. The court denied bail to the two leaders and sent them to jail. The police had detained them from their homes early in the morning and brought them to the police station for questioning, which continued for several hours. Earlier, on Thursday, police arrested several top leaders of the BNP in connection with the clashes. Meanwhile, the BNP agreed to hold its rally at another venue after talks with the Dhaka Metropolitan Police. India has said that its policies are aimed at ensuring an open, safe and trusted and accountable internet for its users. In a written reply to a question in Upper House of Parliament, India's Union Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, said, with the expansion of the internet and the users are increasingly exposed to potential harm arising from improper use of cyberspace. He said to help achieve the aim of ensuring an open, safe and trusted and accountable internet, the central government has also made the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. Mr. Chandrasekhar added that with regard to due verification of social media accounts, it is informed that the due diligence requirements for a social media intermediary under the IT rules include informing users about its user agreement. While with regard to the social media intermediary, which has more than 50 lakh registered users in India, such requirements also include enabling its users to voluntarily verify their accounts and provide such accounts with visible marks of verification. The minister said with regard to steps to address the potential damage due to fake accounts, it is informed that Section 66D of the IT Act penalizes cheating by impersonating by means of any communication device or computer resource. Such act is punishable with imprisonment of up to 3 years and fine of up to 1 lakh rupees. He said as the offence is cognizable offence, state police departments take preventive and penal action as per law in respect to the same.
The Sensex and the Nifty on Friday fell more than 0.5%, a report from the business desk.
The Sensex declined 389 points or 0.62% to close at 62,182. The Nifty also plunged 113 points or 0.61% to close at 18,497. Global stock markets rose on expectations that China's economy would strengthen as COVID-19 curbs ease. However, stocks still logged 2% weekly loss ahead of the Federal Reserve's policy meeting next week. Hong Kong's Hang Seng climbed 2.3% and Japan's Nikkei 225 gained 1.2%. South Korea's Kospi rose 0.8%, while Singapore's Straits Times and China's Shanghai Composite Indices added 0.3% each. European shares were also up in intraday trade. Oil prices were stable but headed for a weekly loss on worries over weak economic outlook in China, Europe and the United States. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $76.50 per barrel. Back home at the Multi-Commodity Exchange, gold futures for February was trading at 54,340 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for March was trading at 67,300 rupees per kilogram when reports last came in. In the forex market, the rupee appreciated 15 paise to close at 82 rupees and 28 paise against the US dollar. S. Rangabashyam for World News.
India's Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur on Friday said 1,000 Khelo India centres will be opened by the 15th of August next year across the country. The minister was replying to a discussion in Lower House of Parliament on the need to promote sports in the country, and steps were taken by the government in this regard. Mr. Thakur stated that, be it Tokyo Olympics or Tokyo Paralympics, India has performed better as compared to the past. He said India has also performed well in Deaf Olympics as well.
एक बात और बीच में आई कि आखिरकार खेल संघों में क्या हो, खेल की हमारी अचीवमेंट्स कैसे ज्यादा बढ़े, तो मैं कह सकता हूं कि चाहे पैरालंपिक्स हो, डेफ ओलंपिक्स हो या ओलंपिक्स हो, समर ओलंपिक्स की बात करूं, इन सभी में आज तक के सबसे ज्यादा मेडल टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में 7 मेडल हमने जीते और टोक्यो पैरालंपिक्स में 19 मेडल जीते.
Mr. Thakur said the focus is being given to improving sports infrastructure. He assured that the government has shown no discrimination towards para-athletes. Participating in the discussion, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of Congress suggested that budgetary allocation for the Youth Affairs and Sports Ministry should be increased.
Moving on to cricket now. In women's cricket, Australia defeated India by 9 wickets in the first T20 international of the 5-match series at the D.Y. Patil Stadium in Mumbai on Friday. Chasing a target of 173 runs, Australia overhauled the score with 9 wickets in hand and 11 balls to spare. Beth Mooney scored an unbeaten 89 runs and Talia McGraw contributed 40 runs for the visitors. Earlier put into bat, India scored 172 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. For India, Richa Ghosh and Deepti Sharma scored 36 runs each. For Australia, Elise Perry took 2 wickets.
In the FIFA World Cup 2022, the first quarter-final match between Brazil and Croatia is underway at the Education City Stadium in Qatar. After goalless stipulated 90 minutes, Brazil was leading by 1-0 when reports last came in. Neymar scored the lone goal for Brazil. The action-packed last 8 stage will also see Argentina against Netherlands at Lusail Iconic Stadium later on Friday.
The first coins bearing the likeness of Britain's King Charles III has entered circulation in the UK. This was announced by the Royal Mint, the official producer of UK banknotes and coins. The new 50p piece features an effigy of Charles, who became king after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, in September. The Royal Mint is initially releasing 4.9 million of the coins via transactions made at the country's postal offices. Millions more will eventually enter use, with King Charles's head featuring on all denominations. Charles's head faces left, in line with the tradition that the new monarch looks the opposite way to the predecessor. The effigy is the work of British sculptor Martin Jennings and was personally approved by the king. The reverse side celebrates the life and legacy of Elizabeth, using the coin designed for her coronation in 1953.
Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa has announced 8 crew members who will join him for a journey around the moon planned for 2023 on a SpaceX rocket that is still under development. The flight could be the first lunar journey by humans since 1972. The mission, known as Dear Moon, was first announced in 2018. Mr. Maezawa initially said he would invite a crew of 6 to 8 artists, but later changed the entry requirements to a competition which applicants could apply online. The 8 people chosen were Indian actor Dev Joshi, K-pop musician Top of South Korea, DJ and producer Steve Aoki of the United States, Tim Dodd, an American YouTuber, Czech artist Yemi Adi, an Irish photographer Rhiannon Adam, British photographer Kareem Ilya, and American filmmaker Brendan Hall. There were also 2 backup crew members, snowboarder Kathleen Farrington of the US and dancer Miu of Japan. Making the announcement on YouTube, the Japanese billionaire expressed hope each and everyone will recognize the responsibility that comes with leaving the Earth, traveling to the moon and back.
And now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Washington Post writes, US welcomes Brittany Griner as Victor Bout arrives in Moscow.
The Financial Times reports that US House passes $858 billion defense bill with weapons funding for Taiwan.
The New York Times writes, chasing the US, China's leader emerges from diplomatic isolation.
Wall Street Journal writes, Ebola could have wiped us all. Slow lockdown haunts Uganda.
Japan Times opines, disappearing plant populations jeopardize a green future.
The Guardian writes that the US is a rogue state leading the world towards ecological collapse.
Reuters reports that Britain reviews financial rules to bolster city's global clout.
And Kathmandu Post says, Supreme Court orders authorities not to implement Gautam's decision to invalidate Rana's suspension.
And now, before we end the bulletin, a quick look at the headlines once again. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs video meeting of governors, state chief ministers and lieutenant governors on country's G20 presidency. India reducing dependency on Chinese goods by taking a series of measures, says country's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. New Delhi asks Islamabad to take immediate measures to bring persecutors of minority groups in Pakistan to justice. India Meteorological Department warns of cyclonic storm Mandos over Bay of Bengal from Friday midnight to early hours of Saturday. President Draupadi Murmu stresses on immediate implementation of measures taken by the Government of India to deal with climate change. Japan, UK and Italy to jointly develop next-generation fighter jet. In women's cricket, Australia defeat India by 9 wickets in the first T20 International in Mumbai. And in the FIFA World Cup, Brazil facing Croatia in the first quarter-final in Qatar, Argentina to take on Netherlands later on Friday in the second quarter-final.
And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Jan, by artists from Germany on the Republic Day. Vaishnava Janata,
with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.